Hey guys, what's up? So this video is going to be a little bit different from what you used to see on this channel because I'm not going to talk about my build guides. I'm rather going to talk about goals that I have achieved and still pursue in Path of Exile. And I got the idea pretty much after watching a video from GoodGuyGaming where he was showcasing various goals you can achieve and aim for in Path of Exile. I'm gonna put the video link in the description, so make sure to check that one out. Yeah, let's start off with, well, I kind of struggled if I really should make this video because I'm not really sure if it's interesting enough and entertaining, but yeah, let's see, I guess. um, for me as a veteran player, I think it's really important to have goals because it basically keeps me playing the game, which I love, which is Path of Exile. And also in the long run, you will have something you can look back to, like like milestones, which is yeah pretty nice, I think. Um, so how did it all start? So yeah, at the beginning, I basically wasn't really. I didn't really know what I wanted to play in this game. Like everything looked great, everything looked interesting and strong, and I don't know what to play. So I started playing build after build. Like I I kept on rerolling every 3 to 4 weeks until I found a skill build that really felt good. Like I was looking for attacks that felt like good and stuff, and also defensive mechanics that would fit to the skills. And yeah, after I found like certain skills and defensive mechanics, I started to fall in love with them, and yeah, and kept on improving the builds over and over again, and updating them and keeping them alive. Since with introductions like ascendancy classes, new items, new stats on items, and of course nerfs and buffs, um, there's always something that keeps me busy, that keeps me updating the builds, and yeah, keeping them alive basically. And at the beginning, my goal wasn't really like getting mirror tier items or even mirrored items itself. Um, it all started pretty much really small. Like I tried to get as many useful stats per item slot as possible, and yeah, and from that point it kept on going, and there was only one direction with it, which is the, the sky, I guess. So yeah, the first character basically that kind of start or this mid-maxing session was my CI Flicker Strike character that I made back in the days. And with back in the days, I mean, how old is that one? Like back, way back in the days. Like this character is, I don't know. Is that's let's say nearly 4 years, okay? Mathematics, so yeah, back in the days we had like no guardians, no shaper, like no tier 15 maps, nothing like that. No ascendancy classes, no bestiary, fossil or essence crafting, nothing. PoE trade or the PoE community was still really small, and it wasn't easy, or I wasn't like rich back then, and it wasn't also not really easy for me at least to make currency. So it all started with basically yeah, grinding maps, picking up the loot, and alking, and sometimes chaos spamming, which you shouldn't do at the beginning, and yeah, crafting like this, and it turned out pretty well sometimes. I mean, this ring, for example, that it dropped for me like that, and I mean the lightning damage to attacks, it's damage, but it's a fist build, so it's not really effective. But high accuracy, high flat energy shield, RS, the 4 life gain occurs, also not really helpful for this build, but increased elemental damage with attacks. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 stats, and it dropped like that. And I still remember I nearly fell out of my chair when I did that ring because it was like a perfect fit back then. and I had nothing remotely close to this ring. Yeah, so it was like it was really great. Another thing was this ring here. Also attack speed, really like DPS, pretty high accuracy. Okay, energy shield, auras again, increased elemental damage with attacks again, and I had a free prefix, so I could craft the increased maximum energy shield percentage on the ring, which is sadly now legacy, but it was possible and it was not really cheap back then. But yeah, that's how it started basically. And at some point, since this is a energy shield character, I had to improve the gear to get more energy shield, which results in like more or a higher life pool. So I bought this shield, and it was okay for quite a long time. Yeah, but with all builds, if they are successful, you will reach a barrier or like hit the wall, and you need better stuff. So yeah, I crafted this shield right here. This is basically not this amulet, this shield. Um, this is like the first big craft for me. I bought the shield with the 3 prefixes, and then I was meta crafting the suffixes. Meta crafting, if you don't know, is if you have like one open suffix or prefix, you can delete the prefixes or suffixes. For example, I have to be careful on what I'm doing. I can, or I could, what? Where is it? Oh, there it is. I could craft prefixes cannot be changed, which is a suffix mod, and then I could put on a scouring orb on it and remove all the suffixes. Suffixes in this case is the auras, the cold res, and the reduced damage taken from damage over time. After that, you would put a suffix that you don't want, and then throw an exalt on it. And if it's a good stat, you throw another exalt on it. If you have a bad exalt, like I don't know, imagine something really really useless, okay? Then you would have to recraft the prefixes cannot be changed mod on it, scour, and start from start again. And yeah, it can turn really costly, and I don't really want to tell you how much I spent on each item, but all of them are like in the 3-digit exalt area. And the reason why I'm telling you that is if you're crafting and aiming for those high tier GG items, chances are really really high that you won't really make profit out of it. The goal isn't really like crafting mirror tier or GG items for profit. The goal is rather to improve your character. And it doesn't matter what items you were crafting for yourself and at what level you are with crafting. And at a certain point, it doesn't matter how much you spend on crafting, as long as it's an improvement for your character and you had fun while crafting it, which is something I really enjoy doing. Yeah, so with this shield and having like a nice energy shield pool and such, I was kind of asking myself, okay, what goal should I aim for next? And I can remember a friend of mine playing a physical Spectral Throw character, which like off-screened everything back then. And I was like, man, how are you doing so much damage? That's insane. And he was linking me a Loaf Bane. A Loaf Bane, if you don't know, is a mirrored dagger, which does a lot of DPS. And I was like, oh wow, okay. that's something I will never be able to get. Like back in the days, I had to pay like 217 exalts, something like that, and that's an insane amount, right? But I got it, and the reason why is pretty easy. I kept on playing temp leagues only. I was farming items in temp leagues that were cheaper than in standard, and or are even only obtainable in a temp league. And after the league ended, I was selling all those items, and I was stripping the character I've played in the league, and kept only the good items that I kind of wanted for myself, and sold the rest. And if you're only playing temp leagues, you're not really spending currency in standard league. And that's how the exalts piled up, and after, I don't know, a couple of months, I was able to buy the Loaf Bane, the mirrored dagger. And I can already see like the negative comments or like negative minds about like mirrored items or mirrored weapons. But personally, I'd really suggest to, even if it's only once, to get a mirrored item, because it's a really interesting and unique experience to have, to push a DPS to like another level. Because back then, when I switched to Loaf Bane, it literally doubled my DPS, and that's a pretty good feeling. If you just equip another weapon and boom, your damage is now insane. Yeah, and after that I was like, I mean, the build at that stage back then was like doing great. I mean, if you're checking the channel and scroll down a couple times, you will see some really old videos of me playing with this build, and it worked. It was doing a great job. So at that point, and I don't know, it was also before they even nerfed CI. I kind of got bored, and I really, the crafting got me hooked, you know. I wanted to craft something. I wanted to continue with crafting. So every time when I had to wait for a trade or for a map rotation, or I don't know, it doesn't matter. I kept on alt regaling rings until I had like 4 or 5 of them, and then I blocked a prefix or a suffix, and then I yeah, YOLO exalted them. And if they turned bad, I either redo the process or I try to sell them, because sometimes they were not useful for me, but sometimes they're useful for someone else. And this way I've managed to get this ring right here, which is extremely good. I mean, the dexterity is something we could like argue about if it's useful or not. But I mean, for if you're using Shaper's Touch, dexterity is basically also increased melee fist damage, so it's good. And this one right here. So those were my first like GG rings that I made. And the first GG amulet that I made for this build was this one right here, a multi-modded one. And you can tell it's old because it has the legacy crit chance on it. And a lot later, by accident also, with chaos spamming out of boredom, I've managed to craft me this amulet. It had the 3 prefixes, and then I, like the shield itself, meta crafted the suffixes. I mean, the 16% crit multi is not really charming. Yeah, it's not really eye candy. I think that's the correct way to say it. But the 55 strength is like really good, because its strength is melee fist damage, and also with Shaper's Touch is energy shield. And I also have enough crit multi, so it doesn't matter. It makes me happy the way it is. And yeah, again, for you guys too, if you have something that it's not really looking good for someone else, if it's improving your character, if it makes you happy, it's a good item. That's about it. Yeah. And now the like the big final piece on this character. Let's make some room here. Is this chest piece right here. And this one is crafted from scratch. Like, it was a white item when I bought it, and I kept on alt spamming and augmentation, regling it until I hit 2 good prefixes. Then I blocked the suffix, and I hope to hit the third tier 1 prefix. Oh, my cats are fighting. Hey! Yeah, and that took me... That's actually a fun story. Like, a friend of mine was like, "Oh yeah, Toma, just craft yourself a chess piece. It's not that difficult." And it took me like the whole evening. I don't know. And after I've hit the 3 prefixes after, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, he was like, "Oh my god, man, I was about to say." He really felt sorry for me. But yeah, there it is. It has high int, which is, yeah, it is accuracy, which is good since I'm a crit attack based, and its evasion rating, which is also good because I'm actually stacking evasion rating on this one. Yeah, so that one was pretty much the first character that's made me craft stuff, high-end stuff, and I still do. Like, with every patch, with every change, I try to implement those, improve the character, and sometimes there are obviously also nerfs, so I try to counter those and stuff like that. And what's also really interesting, I mean, again, I love improving mid-max in the character, and I talk a lot with friends about the builds. We together watch Path of Building, or no, what? Not watching. Look into Path of Building, testing various different passive trees and items and whatnot, and yeah, then you reach a point like, okay, you can't make it better. And then a couple months later, all of a sudden I got an idea that, like, hey, what if I take this and that, and oh, I suddenly improved the build, which is also like a bit strange but also funny feeling that after a long time there is an idea all of a sudden popping up, and you find a solution or a way to improve the character furthermore. So yeah, the next character that pretty much also stepped up the game in terms of itemization and improving the items was my Wander. And it started really cheap, because at the time when I really started playing this build more intense was the CI meta. So everything that didn't have an energy shield roll and rather a life based roll was considered trash by the meta. So they were really cheap, and it was really awesome. But then they started nerfing the Wander over and over again. And one nerf was the implicit crit chance on wands. And as a crit based character, you really want a high crit chance. So to counter that, I crafted me some gloves. Also, there were no Abyss items back then. So back in the days, those were pretty much the best in slot gloves for this build. The reason why is because the socketed gems get like plus 3.5 to base crit chance. So I just put in Kinetic Blast in it, and I was pretty much always critting with Kinetic Blast, which was really great. And this one took me a while. I think I had to invest 80 essences. I can't really tell you which essence it was. Was it horror? No, it wasn't. No, it is horror, I think. So yeah, a lot of essences went into this one. And where is it? And yeah, that was a lucky drop right here. So I got this amulet while mapping, again with the free prefixes, like the high flat lightning damage to attacks, the high life roll, and the elemental damage with attack skills. And yeah, and then I tried to craft the suffixes, meta craft the suffixes like the other amulet on the CI flickers for a character. And this amulet ate a lot of exalts, a lot more than the shield and the amulet together. And I couldn't hit the crit multi roll, so at a certain point I stopped with improving or meta crafting this amulet. And yeah, a couple months later, they started to implement Abyss League. So now I had another thing where I could improve the character. So I kept on crafting 3-stat abyssal jewels and bought some of them in leagues. And when the league was ending, I slammed all of them to get like 4-stat jewels. And some of them were obviously got like a bad 4th stat, and some of them I tried to annul it, but yeah, I didn't really got like really well, yeah, how can I say it? The ratio of succeed was like really low. I mean, out of 10 searching eyes, I maybe got like 1 really good one, and maybe 2 okayish ones, and the rest were basically not good enough for me, or turned out really bad. So yeah, let's see. I mean, this one, I think this one I bought this one. Also bought this one. No, I had this one. Yeah, I crafted this one. Also, I'm quite a lunatic because I tried to corrupt them to get the cannot be inflicted with corrupted blood implicit without having in mind that I also can brick those jewels. I did brick 2 or 3 of them, which is really ouchy, but yeah. I bought this one too. Ah man, I have to look. I think I bought this. No, yeah. There were only 2 jewels I bought. I think those were the 2s, yeah. And the rest were self-crafted. And obviously they are not all of them were like 4 T1. I think that's what Watcher saw, yeah. But I also have some right here, self-crafted. I mean, movement speed isn't that bad actually. I mean, since we have no movement skill with this build. And yeah, that's basically how I made the searching eyes for this build.
Need a map?
And yeah, again, and I don't know. It took me, I think, like I think it took me 2 leagues of collecting searching eyes to get those. And again, I only bought like 2 of them. The rest were all like self-crafted. Yeah, and at that time, wonders were like exploding in the meta. And I remember that my build guide was getting like 5 pages every day. And I got like whisper from, I don't know, 5 different people in the first 2 or 3 minutes when I got online. It was insane. So GGG had a great idea to nerf the Wonder again and again and again and again. And my problem was that I really loved the Wonder, and I still love the Wonder. I still do. So what can I do to make sure that the Wonder is still playable? Yeah, and the only possible option to me was getting really insane gear. My mindset was basically, if they nerf the Wonder and take like 1 million Shaper DPS, for example, it won't hurt me because I was dealing 4 million DPS before the nerf. You know, that was like I don't know. I was really getting paranoid every time when patch notes were around the corner. It wasn't really funny. You can ask my friends. I was like, I don't know. I was kind of nuts. Yeah, and also since the build guide was getting more and more popular, more and more people were asking me, hey, how far can you push this build? How much can you get out of this build? So I got 2 reasons to like get the really good items. And some item slots are just way too difficult to craft. And some items have stats that are unobtainable, like the amulet slot, where I got a legacy crit multi-roll. And that was my first mirror tier item on this character. Why was the amulet slot the first one? It's pretty simple, because there wasn't no mirror tier wands back then. And I also had back in mind that if they destroy wonders for whatever reason, I can still use this amulet for other elemental attack builds. So yeah, that's how I basically started with this amulet. And actually, what I realized with Betrayal League is you can achieve similar crit multi-rolls on amulet by converting regular amulets to talismans in the safe houses. I mean, I don't know. I think he's not online. I have a guildie that has pretty much similar, if not the same stats. I mean, some of them were like lower of the tier, but he had like 30-ish multi, and then another crit multi roll in the implicit, which brings it up to a legacy crit multi roll, which is insane. So yeah, that's something you can maybe aim for in the next league. Either it's for a wonder build like this or another build. Yeah, really insane. And yeah, and couple months later, the mirror tier items popped up. I mean, mirror tier wands popped up, and also more nerfs. So I was like, oh damn, what should I do? What should I do? So I mirrored me the wand slot. I tried a couple times to craft me a wand, but it's insanely difficult to craft a wand, because you can also roll spellcaster mods next to also like really useful stuff, useless stuff like resist and such. So I gave up on this one, and yeah, got me this insane wand. But again, you don't need crazy gear like this to play this wonder. It's just something that that kept me calm, that allowed me to gain some sleep when patch notes were coming. Yeah, it was like crazy times back then. And now I'm more chill, because like wonders are not meta anymore. So don't I mean yeah, don't play wonders too much, please. Yeah, and after that the content basically got like more and more difficult, so I kind of wanted more life on this character. And then I saw that you can get percentage life on elder based shields. So that was another big thing. Oh, it actually has only 30 lightning resists. Oh, I will have to recraft it later anyways. Yeah, and that was the next goal. So I chaos spammed the prefixes, and then I did a mistake once. I wasn't really paying attention. If you, it's also a little knowledge bomb for you guys. If you're meta crafting and you have prefixes you want to keep, don't fill up the suffixes, because that happened to me. I was like, oh, like I had like one good stat, a one that was like not really useful for me, and I was like, all right, let's slam it again, and I kind of had the feeling like, oh, I will hit the resist, and it's going to be fine, and yeah, no, it didn't. I think I hit dexterity or something, and at that point I had 3 suffixes, so I couldn't recraft the sheet. So I had to redo all that, which took me yeah, another couple hundreds and hundreds of chaoses to get the prefixes back. And then I started to metacraft the suffixes again. I wasn't really aiming to get the chance to dodge spell on hits. I was really like hoping for something like attack speed or accuracy, something that frees up the other item stats, item slots. But no, I didn't. I mean, it's still great, since it's also a defensive mechanic that I'm using in this build, and it's fine. I mean, let's see. And yeah, that's another great example, I think, because the change of my life pool. I mean, okay, it's quite a jump right there, but for the amount of currency, again, for the amount of currency I've invested into this, into making this shield, the change is a little bit disappointing to me. But it's an improvement, so it's worth it. Yeah, so that was my wonder, but I'm not done here. While I was playing leagues, and it was Bestiary League, I know it was Bestiary. I thought about making a life-based Flicker Strike character, because yeah, CI was still hurt really bad from the nerfs, and people kept asking me if there was a way of making a life-based version. So I gave life-based version a try, and since the CI character was block-based, I went to Duelist Gladiator and made a Gladiator Flicker Strike character, and it worked really well. And that was the first time when I was hitting a really insane ring with essence crafting, which was this one right here. And I have the video. I'm gonna probably link in the description as well. It was the first essence that I had, and it got me this ring right here. So it's, I don't know, it's tier 1 flat fizz, it's tier 1 accuracy. I slammed the energy shield, sadly. Well, it's sadly because it was life based. It had tier 1 life and tier 2 fire resist. And yeah, it was like, well, I had no camera back then. But you can hear me in this video. You can hear my reaction, and it's a little bit embarrassing, but yeah, it's crazy. And also since daggers were really unpopular back then, since claws were meta, dagger jewels and such were really cheap. So again, I was buying free stat abyssal jewels, like yeah, this one is a four stat, but I was mainly aiming for free stat jewels like this one here. No, like flat fizz and life and cold damage. I mean, it's damage again, but I'm mainly scaling physical damage with the build. And yeah, that's how I basically, yeah, it's a great tip. Do off meta builds. You can save a lot of currency. And yeah, I was playing with this character in the league until I hit, I don't know, I think 97, something like that, and called it a day. And yeah, some friends, couple weeks later, were grinding to level 100 in standard league to kill time until the next league launches. And yeah, I was bored too, so I was changing the duelist a little bit and joined them. So I don't know why, but I totally missed the stat stick game, and yeah, got pretty late into it. So yeah, I was crafting me. I was lazy in buying one. I mean, they were either really bad or really expensive. So I gave it a try and was really lucky with this one. I mean, it's not insane, I know, but it only cost me like 4x to get it. And yeah, that was basically my stat stick. For weapon, I was using the Loaf Bane dagger, and with small changes in the passive tree, the character was basically good to go. And yeah, and this way I was pushing and hit level 100 with the duelist a couple weeks later, which was really fun with Elder Gorge map. Rest in peace, Gorge. Great map. Yeah. What else? Oh yeah. And after all those crafting sessions, I was ending up to the amulet slot of this life-based melee character, and I don't know. I honestly can't remember how I made the amulet, but I've managed to get tier 1 flat physical, tier 2 life, and tier 1 gain physical as extra lightning damage. And originally I was aiming for 2 gain S, but after a little thought, I think that one element is basically better because you can then focus on one element, and in this case use, for example, lightning penetration on the character. And the difference of tier 1 physical damage to attacks and a 20% gain blah 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 is like 3%. I mean 3% are basically like, I don't know, 1 strong or maybe 2 passive points in the passive tree, but it didn't matter to me. I mean, it's great. It's great for me. It works. Yeah. So I started then to metacraft this amulet too, and I think I've hit the crit multi. Yeah, I hit the crit multi and the crit chance in the second session of metacrafting, and every session was like again in the 3-digit exalt area. And then I was crafting auras as a suffix. And it was really great, and I had a really great time. The duelist hit level 100, and I was equipping a Scion head in standard with it. But the build wasn't really well rounded, so I stripped the character completely and started to test things. And something I never played actually was with the Ferul's Fur chess piece. Let me put it one back. Sorry guys. Where is it? In case you don't know. Am I blind? Yeah, there it is. That's the chess piece. I never played with it. I mean, yeah, this chess piece is like in the game for such a long time, especially in standard, and I never played with it. So I had the opportunity because I had an aspect of cat in the menagerie, and yeah, one thing led to another, and I basically finished the amulet this way with the gay grand level 20 aspect of the cat skill. And with that I realized that this amulet is officially mirror tier. There are only amulets on PoE traded for a mirror service. And yeah, that's basically how I got this one right here. Yeah, I'm still surprised that you are still watching the video. I don't know. It felt a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit too harsh on myself. But yeah, let me know in the comments. I mean, it's the first video like that for me, and yeah, I try to make more. I really enjoy. I really like the idea behind it. And yeah, I think I will get better making those videos. Yeah, I really hope you liked what you see, and I'm really proud of my crafting results, and I wish I would have a way to show you like the not so great and bright moments of crafting of my career, because those would be really, really hilarious. But yeah, maybe some will happen in the future. I don't know. And yeah, again, it's a really great experience to push a character this far, this high of a level. Yeah, if you, I don't know, if you don't have an idea what you should do with currency, time in Standard League or whatever, try it. I mean, it's really cool. Um, yeah, and it really turned into something I really enjoy doing, like keeping the builds alive no matter what nerfs are coming, implementing new items, new stats, and so on, improving them, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah. Again, I hope you really liked it, and maybe we'll see us again in the future, maybe on the stream. Have a good day. Bye bye.